Darren, Utah. You're on the Wilkow Majority. Hello.
Hey, Andrew. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I like you a lot. Not near as much as I like Ron Paul, though. So,
I'm sure.
What you have to remember about us as libertarians is we don't agree with interventional foreign policy. We are non-interventionist foreign policy. We, speaking for the libertarians as a whole. Most of these documents that were released have had a lot to do with what we view as illegal wars, Afghanistan and Iraq. We never should have been in these wars in the first place, and that's the libertarian viewpoint. Anything that can get released, anything that can shed truth on illegal wars, we're going to support because we never should have been there, Andrew.
That's just ducky. That's great. That's ducky. That's just great. So if one of these terrorist groups would have slit a Marine's throat on their archaic TV network because we intervened in their country, you'd say, well, I guess that Marine deserved it. He's an agent of the government that's intervening.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what the worst part is, Darren? You don't believe this crap for a second. That's the problem. You don't believe this crap for a second. It just sounds good to separate yourself as a contrarian from this right-left paradigm that you think you're above. Because if I were to throw it to you, well, Democrats have done that, you'd say I'm not a Democrat either. So you want to position yourself as above it all by claiming to be a libertarian. Can you think of any administration that a libertarian would support that would have allowed this to happen under its watch? Thomas Jefferson, anyone?
No, maybe a future presidential campaign of Ron Paul or somebody who agrees with this stuff. Andrew, you've got me mixed up. I'm not a contrarian.
You are. You're basically saying that no matter what happens to the United States, there's always a way to say in some way we deserved it.
No, absolutely not. We didn't deserve it, but we don't make ourselves any safer by intervening. That's the key point of a libertarian. We do not make ourselves any safer as a country to have interventional foreign policy. That's, everybody has the idea that we're over there to protect ourselves from them. The best way that we can protect ourselves from our enemies is to defend our own borders, Andrew.
Okay, Darren. So we should. What you're saying is, as a representative of the libertarian movement in this country, we should have no allies. We should have no friends.
Allies should have free trade.
Of course, we should have free trade. Okay, but if our allies can't trade with us because there's instability, then what do we do? Now, we're going to talk the Monroe Doctrine here. I'm sure you're familiar with the Monroe Doctrine, right?
No, I'm not.
Well, come on. What kind of libertarian are you if you don't know what the Monroe Doctrine is?
Well,
President James Monroe, isolating ourselves to the affairs of the Western Hemisphere. This is one of the this is again the problem that I have with debating liberals is they don't know where their ideas come from. If you don't know where your ideas come from, how then do you debate them?
Well, maybe you got me on that one. I know where a lot of libertarian ideas come from, so.
Well, the idea that we should restrict ourselves to Fortress America was that of President James Monroe. It was called the Monroe Doctrine. And the assumption was if we just limited ourselves to the Western Hemisphere, all would be well. And I'm not for keeping bases in places they ought not be and wasting money maintaining bases to uphold local economies and make German governors or others happy. That's not what I'm getting at. But the problem is libertarians never, ever seem to say, you know what, I'll take responsibility for it if I'm wrong. Let's say we go ahead with your version of how we're supposed to exist in this world. If we go ahead with Ron Paul's version of this, and if you turn out to be wrong, what do you do then?
If I turn out to be wrong about...
What I'm saying is, what's the libertarian plan B if you're wrong?
I don't think that's the point.
No, that is the point. No, before you put forth this policy and demand the rest of us morons locked into this right-left paradigm see it your way. All I'm asking, you can create some libertarian voters here, Darren. You tell me and all these idiot conservatives that are listening to this program what the plan B is if your libertarian policy for foreign affairs is wrong.
I know, but I don't know what my plan B is.
So you have no idea. That's the problem. That's the basis of the problem. You're telling us that we're doing it all wrong. You aren't telling us how to do it right, and you aren't telling us how to rewrite it if you do it wrong in the first place. Thank you for the call. No, this is done. This is the problem I have with these people. I'm all willing I'm all willing to join up and say, all right, I'm in, libertarian, foreign policy, let's do it. Now just tell me what the plan B is if you're wrong. We go Fortress America. We pull out of every single international port and base. We restrict our military solely as a defense force inside the continental United States, Hawaii and Alaska as outposts. And it goes wrong. I want the plan B. If you give me that plan B, I will say, you know what? You guys are right. This is the way to do it. There's got to be a plan B. There's no plan B. That's the problem. The problem is they say, well, we got to shut down all these bases and come back inside the United States and point the guns outward. Free trade. Free trade. Who are you going to trade with? Who are you going to trade with? 1-866-95-PATRIOT.